Shalom, Yashrallah. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakak Wadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and our root well. And citation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real quick, which is dealing with, this here famine, that's coming upon the earth, all right? Because we keep telling you about different things, whether it's the gas prices going up, food prices going up, rent prices going up. Now you also have what they call the auto loan apocalypse. All right, that's about to start happening. A lot more of these cars, what they call or repo apocalypse, Salakia. Where a lot of these cars are about to be called back in. All right, they have a term, they called it the end of stimmy balling or something like that, where all these stimulus checks, stimulus money, and all these different things is starting to run out. Whether your PPP money or your moratoriums, all these things that has been propping up this facade of this American economy. All right, it's all starting to run out. People's reserves and their savings are all gone. So you tie that, all right, with the inflation costs, the price of gas and food and housing going up. All right. And then, also the lack of jobs. And then you also have the strain on, shipping and things like that, man. All right. All these things are coming to a catastrophic end as far as, the economy around in this bad boy. All right. They blaming a lot of these different things on the war in Russia with Ukraine. But you have to remember back a couple of years ago, America became a gig-like economy where everybody was driving Uber and Lyft and things like that, having to get a part-time job. And a lot of them became full-time Uber and Lyft drivers. Everybody thought that was cool. I remember hearing the sentiment, this is a new time, a new day where people are quitting their jobs to go do this and go do that. A lot of people were quitting their jobs. I was listening in on, one of the economic shows about how people were quitting their jobs, especially during the pandemic. It's, if you've ever been on a job and, you understand how groupthink speaks, you could actually literally have a good job where you actually like the job or don't have a problem with the job. But let 2 or 3 people start walking around the job like, man, I hate this job every day. I hate this job, complaining about the job. Then you'll start getting into that little rut, and then once you get into that little rut, it's kind of hard to get up out of that rut, because, they so-called bring down the, the how they would say nowadays, the vibes around the place. It's not that you hate the place or it's not that the place is bad for you, but because you keep hearing that, you feel like that. So during the pandemic, there was a lot of people that was just up and quitting their jobs. And that was the sentiment people were hearing. Oh, record number of people quitting jobs. And, they're like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. A lot of people don't understand finance and economics. They wind up quitting their jobs without even having 2 weeks worth of, finances to be able to finance themselves for another 2 weeks. Most people were living paycheck to paycheck, but they didn't understand these things, and a lot of people were saying, hey, it's, a lot more beneficial, or we make a lot more money. There's more money in quitting your job and just getting unemployment. There's more money than doing this. The government is paying us this. The government is paying us that, and really, again, most people don't understand economics. Most people are just following and jumping on the bandwagons. Yeah, of course, you would make more money if you was to quit your job working at, let's say, a restaurant, whereas, most restaurants don't have to pay you minimum wage. They can pay you like $2 or $3 an hour because why? You're going to get paid tips. Now, in a time like that where, the economy or, the U.S. was basically shut down. They had the social distancing. They didn't have where you could dine in the restaurants and things like that. All right. Now, if you were a server in a restaurant where the majority of your income is coming from tips, all right, and most people was locked down and not going out to eat, or your job was even shut down. All right. But let's just say your job wasn't shut down and, you guys were still open. Let's say you worked at, let's say, Applebee's, right? Getting paid $2 an hour. Your job wasn't shut down and, but people weren't coming in there to buy, to sit there and dine in and everything else like that. Of course, for you, it would be better for you to quit your job, beneficial for you to quit your job and get paid off the government. You would make more money that way. But somebody making 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90,000 a year, they're not going to quit their damn job to go make a couple $1,000s a year, living off the government. So, but stupid people did that. But hey, here we are. So let's read this here article real quick because, hey, we're coming into this here time where people are starting to realize, hey, things ain't bouncing back. People thought that everything was going to bounce back, from last year. oh, this is the year to bounce back, we coming back up and everything else like that. The first year of the pandemic, people were quiet. Now the second year, people thought that things was bouncing back, but this seems to be a lot worse, than the previous year. People aren't even thinking about the so-called pandemic as the economy crusher now. It's more or less the Ukrainian situation. So let's read this. It says, millions could starve due to Ukraine crisis. The numbers are likely to grow if nations don't start working together to tackle the food crisis. The number of people in the world facing acute hunger is predicted to increase by 18 million due to the crisis in Ukraine. Maurizio Martina, the vice director of the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, said in an interview with Corriere della Sera published on Friday. According to the agency, estimates in 2021 famine affected 53 countries, leaving almost 200 million people around the globe suffering from hunger. All right, now if you want to take that number into perspective, obviously there's way more than 200 million people in the world. But hey, America has roughly 330 million people in America. All right, so that's what 130 million people less than the population of the United States. All right, that's quite a bit of people. All right, so just imagine 2/3 of America, starving out here, man. All right. It says the war will further aggravate the scenario. Our first estimates point to an increase of another 18 million people, but it is clear that much will also depend on the development of the conflict, Martinez said. He noted in the situation with the global threat to grain supplies has become alarming for developing countries, since 36 of the countries with food crisis previously bought more than 10% of their wheat from Russia and Ukraine. In addition, the difficulties with shipping grain due to the current blockade of the Black Sea ports were, according to Martina, there were at least 6 million tons of wheat and 14 million tons of corn. The UN says the conflict in Ukraine and resultant sanctions on Russia also affect the prices availability of fertilizers. All right, these factors combined are propelling the cost of wheat, which could worsen the food crisis globally. And people just look at this as, oh, it's wheat, it's corn. What big deal is that? Let's just say I don't even eat corn. I don't even eat. I'm what they call gluten free anyway. I don't eat all that bread anyway. Hey, well, you got to understand, a lot of these things are what they call backbone products to a lot of stuff, man. All right, just so for instance, let's think about this. Let's say you in your kitchen cooking dinner and everything else like that. Now, let's say hypothetically, you're about to cook your meal and everything else like that, and you are able to buy all the food that you need to buy. And there's no problem there, but the problem comes in whereas the water supply is contaminated. You can't use your so-called water at your house to cook with. All right, you can't go to the grocery store and buy bottled water. You can't buy any kind of water to cook with. So how far can you really put your meal together without any water? All right, you may have to boil certain things. You may have to wash certain foods off. Or you may have to add water to this, add water to that. Same with, cooking oils and things. There's also a shortage of cooking oils going on around the globe, Now, also, when you think about, let's just say for the GMO situation, right? America GMO the majority of their corn. Well, again, you can say I don't eat corn, but then you have to understand that a lot of the animals that they farm here in America are raised off of what? Corn and things like that. So this is a backbone product in a lot of different things. Also with a lot of different fuels and things like that, man. So these things also, the fertilizer as well. As far as growing other crops, man. All right, now they also talk about other factors like sugar and things like that as well. That's becoming affected. All right. It says as the World Bank has estimated, a 1% increase on basic food prices can mean at least 10 million people at risk of hunger. If prices of fertilizer remain so high and across access to agriculture in developing countries become more and more difficult, the consequences will be very problematic with the sharp decline in crops, Martinez said. He added that no national policy can tackle global food insecurity alone, calling on governments to form a multilateral strategy to deal with the situation. And in reality, it's all being organized from the top on down. Now, they're going to talk about at the bottom about them not letting ships through as well. Let me just read this last paragraph. It says, according to him, the Black Sea ports must be reopened. A large amount of goods can be moved through them, and alternate routes such as railways, roads cannot handle sufficient and timely shipments. So not only is, there's a shortage of food. Let's just say they had the food, there's a so-called shortage on being able to get the food to where they need to be able to ship the food. All right. So, hey, these things are all taking a toll on the food supply and the demand of everything else like this, on top of the fact, like I said, man, the rising cost of rent. All right, you're not being able to find a house. All right, now they're about to turn this here key on this housing market bubble to where a lot of people are about to lose their homes. All right, a lot of people are already losing their cars are getting repossessed. All right, screwing up your credit. You don't really have much, so when you're trying to jump back into something else, it's gonna be hard to do all those things, man. All right, a lot more people are still out of work and everything else like that, man. So hey, people can't afford to live out here, man. All right, America has rapidly become like a third world country, man. All right, so hey, this is not looking good for a lot of these people out here, man. We've been saying this for a long time now, but yet now this is the point in time where these people are becoming silent, man. This is now where the people are. Let me grab this one precept real quick, and we'll come back to that. This is now where their so-called smiles are turned upside down now. All right, this is Isaiah 24, and let me just read through this real quick. Isaiah 24:7. The new wine mourneth the divine language. All the merry-hearted do sigh. All right. So, hey, these people that used to be out here, laughing and joking and calling us bummelites and all kind of things. You guys need to go get jobs. You guys are just bums and everything else like that. Lo and behold, the whole time we had jobs, we were faring pretty well. But now these people, their mouths are shut, man. They're just walking around with their heads down, man. All right. You go around, you see them in the damn grocery stores and you see them looking, at certain things and everything else like that. I happened to see somebody the other day who was, I know somebody who's trying to buy a car, and I know somebody else who has a relatively cheap car, a pretty decent cheap car that they bought some years back. And I asked them like, hey, you looking to sell your car? I know somebody was looking to buy a car, and they was like, nah, hell nah. I won't be able to afford a car, and the person that said that they wouldn't be able to afford a car is not in no bad financial situation. They get a paycheck, they work for the government basically, and they, at the Social Security office, not really in fear of losing their job when, the situations happen. They was able to work at home. So, they're not really in a scenario to where they're like, oh man, I'm worried about losing my job and losing this, losing that. I'm pretty, pretty well off. I'm not like, losing my job scenario, but I know that if I, get rid of my car that I have now, trying to buy a car, I'd be in a bad position. I'll just stick it out with my little car that I done have for some years now and just keep it moving with that, But hey, things are getting tight out here for people, man. All right. Let me jump down to verse 10. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. There is crying for wine in the street. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. So, hey, this here place, like I was saying, all the smiles are turned upside down in this here place, man. All right. People, like I said, people used to call us bums and everything else like that beforehand. But now, these people are walking around silent, man. You seeing more and more tent cities growing up, more and more cities are actually making preparations. I believe here in Tampa, they're making preparations to provide for these folks, giving them tents and platforms to put the things on and everything else like that. And I know that in certain places they were making it, some years back, making it illegal for you to be homeless. You can't, set up shop over here. But now, it's becoming a norm because why? A lot of these places, people are more and more people are becoming homeless. Then there's I forgot there's this dude that be doing these little YouTube shorts. Well, I don't think it's him because it's like a woman's profile picture, but there's a guy who has like, I guess a Twitter, not a Twitter, one of these fucking social media sites, but they re-upload his shit on YouTube, right? And he's like, this ain't so. And he talks about, trying to rent a apartment for his two daughters and things like that, where the rent in the apartment is like $1,700, but you got to qualify for it, which is so many more times more than that, which is like $5,000. They got to be able to make at least $5,000 a month to qualify to move into a $1,700 a month apartment, and it's like, and the truth of the matter is the majority of the apartment is vacant. Not too many people are actually living in these apartments, man. All right. So, hey, this is a way that you can break an economy by raising up the price of everything to where people can't afford things, raising it up. Because, lo and behold, if you own the property, you can go for quite a while without getting a tenant renting out, because for the longest point in time, you've been having tenants paying off your mortgage the whole time anyway. All right. There comes a point in time where you wind up owning the spot and you can pretty much what they would call break the bank, just starve the people out, more or less to say, and this is happening along the way in a lot of different places. One of these people, I forgot, it was like a mobile home park or something like that. He said that the people were being held, all these hostages and things like that. He was in trouble with all that. But, when you look into these housing prices, but the housing and the renters and the things that's going on with them, it's almost like a controlled demolition of renters and things like that, man. All right, and that same guy did another one of those little videos talking about how he was in front of a hotel, and it was saying, I think it was like $300 or $400 a night at like your regular, like how you would say a Motel 8 type hotel, not no big fancy hotel, but just a regular hotel, $300 or $400 a night, where it's damn near $1,200 a month or something like that. It's damn near you paying rent at a apartment just to stay in a goddamn hotel, man. All right, so the prices of just places to stay is going up, skyrocketing, man. Nowadays, you hear people talking about living at home with their parents and things. Most people are living at home with their parents or living with roommates or either homeless or living in their damn vans nowadays, man. So, all the things that people used to talk about beforehand and laughing and scoffing at these people with are now, they're all in these same predicaments. All right, so let's read that again. It says Isaiah 24:10 or 11. There's a crying for wine in the streets. All the joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. The city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. All right, so amen. People are out here looking for answers, looking for what to do next. How they gonna get things popping and turning? In the beginning of the pandemic, everybody was all happy-go-lucky, balling on a stimulus package, getting paper tags. They probably sold a record number of Hellcats that year, man. Everybody and their mama had a damn Hellcat. Nobody was working. Everybody was going on vacations for the first time. You had this facade of these people that was going around that was starting up their businesses for the first time, which wasn't real legitimate businesses, or them selling eyelashes and things like that. But look at them now. They ain't able to sustain themselves, man. After all that, PPP money didn't dried up. Some of them went to jail. Some of them is back doing worse than what they were before. Can't get back into work. Did all kind of different crazy things. Now they just looking stupid out here, man. All right, let's go to this. We're going to read beforehand. 2 Ezra 16:17. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? All right, and this is the question that a lot of these people are asking right about now. How are we going to fare? What are we going to do right now? All right, they're looking down the road and seeing, let me grab this real quick. They're looking down the road at the economics of these things. This is Ecclesiastes 12:1. It says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when I will say that I have no pleasures in them, when the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, or the clouds return after the rain. In the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. And the door shall be shut in the street when the sound of grinding is low. So, you have a lot of these people like Charles Schwab's, all these economic people, man. And if you don't really know about a lot of these different things, I would implore you to go look up some of these economic channels and things like that on YouTube. You have what's it called? Not the Dollar Report. It's like the Silver Dollar Report or something like that. What's his name? Chris. Now all of them are slipping my mind now. But nevertheless, there's quite a few of these people where, they'll go into all these different things. That's pretty much all they go into. The Jeremiah Babe, there's another one. I can't, like, all of them that slip my mind right at the moment because I wasn't even thinking about them. But nevertheless, you can look at a lot of these different channels and things like that where, they'll, go into what the economy is like and everything else like that. And, basically this is all they do on their channels. Like I know, I just mentioned a few. Jeremiah Babe is one. He goes into this day in and day out, about the housing market and so on and so forth. And, you'll get a grasp of how things are going, and a lot of the times you'll get the picture before you actually see it being reflected in the real world. Like we've been telling you about the famines that's been coming, the food shortages that's been coming. All right. The grocery store prices that's been coming. And now all of a sudden, like the scriptures say, but at the end, the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Now, when you go in a grocery store, people were laughing and scoffing at us. Maybe that's in your spot. Maybe that's in your town. Dabu 7 is another one. He doesn't just talk about economics, but, he talks about a lot of different things. But, when he's talking about the grocery store shortages and the empty shelves and everything, people say, oh, that's just where you at. I don't see that where I'm at. A lot of proud people walking around. But now they can't refute it when they go to the grocery store that they're paying more at the damn grocery store, paying more at the pump, paying more for housing. All these proud people that was walking around, quote unquote, saying they living their best life. They're not going to let this negativity affect them. Now look at their ass. Now look at what they really doing, man. All right. You can't really hide it no more, man, because all these things, is coming to pass, man. All right. Hey, the grinding is ceasing, man. All right. Let's go back to the 2 Ezra 16. Second Ezra 16 and 18, it says the beginning of sorrows. All right, let's go up. Second Ezra 16 and 17. Woe is me who will deliver me in those days, the beginning of sorrows and great mourning. All right. And this is also what you have going on as well. You have a lot of these things that's taking place, as far as we'll call it the Buffalo incident, the Texas incident. All right. And you have other incidents that's not really making a headline news, because I know that when there was that was it the Buffalo incident? There was another incident like the day after that or something like that. It was the day after that, that didn't really make the headlines because of the Buffalo incident was so much more bigger and it could play off of the race situation. But the next one that happened, I believe it was an Asian man and some crazy shit popped off. But I mean, it was the same scenario, but it was like an Asian dude had popped off and everything else like that. But all these different things is coming to pass where you have these people that's crying over the Second Amendment situation that's going on and everything else like that. And hey, right before that, you had the we'll talk about I don't even know how I want to word this, where the Roe versus Wade thing, those different clinics where these women be offing their children, you know what I'm saying? They had those people saying it's their right to going off their kids, but then now all of a sudden you have this other situation, not going to speak on it that much, but hey, it's like, wait a minute, y'all can't make up y'all mind, man. But this is the time that we're in right about now, man. All right, where it's a great time of lamentation, mourning, and woe. All right, and it's only going to get worse, man, especially when people can't afford to buy food. All right, and they see their so-called life going down the drain. All right, go on YouTube and look up Death by Despair. All right, this was something that they looked into about 4 or 5 years ago. All right, when there was an economic downturn 4 or 5 years ago, man. All right, and that was like I was speaking about with the gig-like economy, people driving Uber and things like that. That looked like a beautiful economy comparably to where we're living at right about now. All right, so you can only imagine what's really going on behind the scenes now. You have a lot more people that's going, how they would say, going postal on these people because, they didn't just have a bad day at their job and they don't see them being able to get another job. So they just go and postal on, the train stations, the grocery stores, schools and everything else like that, man. All right. People can't afford their meds and everything else like that. So, hey, people are losing it all the way across the board. And this is what you have to result to, the beginning, how I said, the beginning of sorrows and great mourning. All right. The beginning of famine. All right. So all these different things are how do I say, coming together to draw out a big picture of lamentation, mourning, and woe. All right. The beginning of sorrow, the beginning of mourning, the beginning of famine, and great death. All right. People are dying of starvation. People are dying of war. People are dying of, domestic conflicts. Egyptians hating Egyptians. All right. They just going at each other's throats. All right. People are becoming impoverished and everything else like that, man. So, and you got plagues and pestilence. You got the new monkeypox. You had the bird flu that was going around. You had the other situation that's popping off. You got all kind of different things that's killing people off right about now, man. All right, and people just you can't ignore it no more. That there's a great culling of the earth right about now, man. Massive people are dying off. All right, it says when they was talking about the one pandemic that was going on with the one thing that was supposed to be killing off all these people. Now you have multiple things killing off a lot of people right now. All right. We're still in a pandemic. We're in a global pandemic of a lot of different things happening, on a large scale. This famine isn't just happening in one place. It's happening all over the place. Like we were reading in the article that, hey, the global food supply. All right. So that's another global problem that's taking place, man. All right. So it says the beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars. All right. And not only do you see the Russia-Ukraine situation, all right, which America's got they hand up in Ukraine, all right, posing, as that's their puppet. All right. You also have America, posing over in Taiwan, all right, blowing smoke up China's ass. All right. And you also got America in South Korea blowing smoke up North Korea's ass, which is allied with China. All right. So you have these conflicts that's boiling up and over all over the whole globe right about now, man. All right. And, also the energy and oil wars as well. All right. The economic wars, on a larger scale between the BRICS nations and the SWIFT nations and things like that, man. The sanctions that's taking place, man. All right. All these different things is about to just explode into what you see as World War III, man. All right. So not only are we at a crisis with food, economics and things like that, you also have World War that's on the brink of breaking off right about now, man. All right. It says the beginning of evils, what shall do when these evils shall come. All right. Hey, that's why you should be seeking the Lord early while he may be found. All right. So you would be built up in faith. So you would know that these things have come for the wicked and not come for, the elect, not come for the righteous, man. All right. It says, behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for an amendment. But for all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of their scourges. All right. So, hey, like I always say, in these times where, especially when the pandemic came around and people should have been at home and silent and, getting an understanding of what's really going on, what did they do? They doubled down on their wickedness, man. The scammers started scamming even more. All right. How you call them? These women went on OnlyFans and started prostituting more and more and more. All right. Whoredom then spread 100-fold over this time, man. All right. More and more of these, the community, we call them the community people out here. They more and more of them transforming and all kind of goddamn Autobots and Decepticons out here, man. So, hey, man, this is the time that we coming into where people, instead of repenting about the things that's going on, they just doubling down on these things, man. All right, let me go ahead and grab this and we'll close out in where is it? Actually, I think it's 2 Ezra 6:22. Yeah. 2 Ezra 6:22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So when you talk about, the food prices, wheat prices, shipping, fertilizer, corn, and all these different things that here in America, it's funny, we used to talk about this beforehand about, here in America, you could go get food 24 hours a day, at the Walmarts and everything else like that, and certain restaurants. And then throughout the pandemic, they closed a lot of them down. Nowadays, some of these places have reopened back up and everything else like that. But guess what? The price of the price of food, is unbearable nowadays. I was in the damn grocery store the other day, and I was looking at the price of I was just going to go grab some burgers and stuff the other day, and I happened to see this big ass, like 30. Now I ain't gonna say it was 30-something pounds. It might have been like 18 pounds or some shit like that of some pork, and that shit was like dirt cheap. It was like I think it was like 18 pounds for like 30-something dollars or some crazy shit like that. But then right beside it, they had beef. Now the beef was like, I don't know, way less weight, maybe like 7 or 6 pounds. But that shit was like 60-something dollars. I was like, how the hell, obviously it's the damn devil where the abominable food would be way cheaper. But nevertheless, the food that we can eat, is way much more than, the abominable food. So they make that the real quick and easy, cheap stuff to get. But hey, man, food prices going up all the way across the board. I wound up going down the bread aisle, and the damn bread aisle was damn near empty, man. And bread was damn $4, $5 a damn loaf, man. All right. But hey, this is the times that we coming into. All right. 2 Ezra 6:22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall suddenly be afraid. And at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So hey, you're gonna have people fighting, one another. Matter of fact, we'll close out on that. You'll have, let me just read this. 2 Ezra 15:19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of a lack of bread and for great tribulation. So this is the times that we're coming into, when people are, are losing their homes, losing rent, all right, living in their cars, all right. And then after they live in their cars, they wind up, the car might break down, they become homeless. All right, now they're living in a goddamn tent. All right, and people are like, man, I lost my job, lost my house. These women out here selling their bodies and things like that. They wind up losing their dignity and everything else like that. What do you think they're going to wind up doing? I seen a video of a woman, I believe it was a woman, who wound up stabbing somebody else. They was living in tents and stuff like that. Wound up stabbing another dude off in their tents because he told her to move her tent, man. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just because he told her to move a tent, but obviously shit didn't hit rock bottom and everything else like that. But hey, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. How much more, when the food prices go up, and, you may have friends coming over, always eating up all your food and everything else like that. And all these different things is going to just lead to what? Egyptians against Egyptians, man. All right. Neighbors fighting against one another, the love of many waxing cold, because wow, we had an economic squeeze, man. All right. But I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord's will, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.